According to the National Center for Drug Abuse, over 165 million Americans ages 12 and up are currently abusing drugs or alcohol. Of those 165 million Americans, there is a mom, dad, sister, brother, wife, husband, son, daughter, or grandparent praying and pleading that they would stop. Addiction is a subject most people don't like to talk about and is kept behind closed doors. But the Finding Hope podcast will bring light to the subject and give families that are living in shame, guilt, hopelessness, fear, worry, and anger tools and education to find strength, peace, happiness, joy, and hope. Hello, I'm Amy LaRue, Finding Hope Coordinator for Hope is Alive Ministries and your host for this Finding Hope podcast. At Hope is Alive, our mission is to radically change the lives of drug addicts, alcoholics, and those who love them. We do this through our intentional next level sober living homes and faith-based support groups for the loved ones of addicts called Finding Hope. Thank you for joining us today. I wanted to remind you about our upcoming Finding Hope retreats that are hitting the road this year. We saw a huge impact in taking these amazing retreats to multiple locations last year. So this year, we're not going to stop with just two. We're going to Tennessee, Texas, Nebraska, Florida, Oklahoma, all over. So we want you to be a part of it. This year's theme is Restored Hope. You can learn more and register at fhretreat.com. But today I'm super excited because I get to have Rob Holsonbake. Oh my gosh.
You got it right. You got it right. Yeah, you did great.
But today I'm so excited because we have a special guest with us, Mr. Rob Holsonbake. And he's usually behind the scenes on these podcasts. He's helped for many years be behind the scenes to make these productions what they are. So thank you for all that.
Yes.
He travels with us to go to our Finding Hope retreats, Hope After Loss retreats.
Got my shirt on today.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
And so I just was like, okay, I wanted a special guest. We haven't had someone join us recently that is in recovery. Mm-hmm. And so Darcy and I were talking through it this week. It's like, who can we have? I was like, you know what? Rob's been behind the scenes. He's watched all of these. He's edited a lot of them. And so I was like, we're going to ask him. And so I'm so excited that you get to join us. So do you want to share a little bit about yourself with us?
Yeah. Again, thank you for having me on. And I've been with Hope is Alive on staff for 3 years now. Been in recovery, been sober for 4 years now, celebrating my fourth year in February 8th.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And battled alcoholism for around, I'd say about 25, maybe 30 years around that period. So
when did it start?
The first time that I actually got drunk, I was 12 years old.
Wow.
So
that's like the age of my daughter, so that's like... just hard to believe.
Yes. I've when I was younger, like I would sip on some beers here and there, but like as far as like getting drunk, that was the first time I got drunk when I was 12 and had an older stepbrother. And at that time, that's what he did. All of his friends, he was 5 years older than I was, and his family on his dad's side owned the liquor store in my hometown. And I'm from a small town in Oklahoma, Purcell, and so he could have access to alcohol at any time he wanted. And for me to like fit in with his friends and with him and trying to be cool, I drank with him. And that was the first time I got drunk was with him. And ever since then, I loved the feeling of being drunk. And every time I drank, it wasn't like just to get a buzz or anything like that. It was to black out. Like I wanted to take it to the full extreme. And so that started my I'd say journey as far as like being an alcoholic, because I loved the feeling of what the effects did to me.
Why do you think you wanted to get to the blackout state?
Well, I thought about that and, of course, did some work in Hope is Alive and in my recovery. So my parents, they got divorced when I was 8 years old. Didn't really understand what was going on, just fighting all the time. And my father at that time, he was a very angry person. And so growing up in a small town, and it was a country town. And so being a male, I have a brother too. It's just my brother and I. We always hid our feelings. And so we never expressed our feelings or anything like that. So anytime I would feel something, I would just bury it and bury it. And so when those emotions would want to emerge, I wanted to numb it out because I didn't know how to process it, didn't know what to do with it. And so whenever I drank, I didn't have to feel anything. And that's why I liked being numb all the time.
So did you complete high school?
Yes. Oh, yes. Actually, graduated early high school.
Wow.
Yeah, like when in my teenage years, even though that was the first time I got drunk, like I focused a lot. I'm an artist, and so I focused a lot on my artwork, and I had really good academics. Like I carried almost a 4.0, it was like a 3.88 or something. Anyway, I had really good grades during my high school years, but I focused on my artwork because I knew I was going to go to art school. And so I would go to parties here and there, but I didn't want that to get in the way of me and my future. And so after I focused on my artwork, that I put all that kind of stuff to the side. And so I graduated early in high school so I could get out of my hometown. A lot of my friends were getting married and having kids and things like that. And me, I didn't want to be bound by that at that time. And so, and with my dad, he had 3 wives, he got married 3 times, 3 divorces, and my mother never remarried. So my views on marriage were not good growing up. And so I didn't want to get married. I didn't believe in marriage. And so, and I grew up in the church, in a Baptist church in my hometown. And whenever I graduated, I put my faith on the people in the church as far as like how they acted. And I thought they were like true Christians. And so they would be all about God on Sunday, and then they'd go back to what they were doing during the week, and I would see that. And so in my mind, I was like, well, if that's a Christian, then I can just do that without God. Yeah. And so whenever I graduated, I left him too. And it was pretty much until 4 years ago, I was pretty much atheist. So about 25, 30 years, I just didn't believe in anything. I just whatever Rob could do. And so at that time when I graduated, was getting ready to prepare for college. Went to college for a year in computer engineering and at Oklahoma City University, and got a scholarship there for my academics and an art scholarship as well. But being an artist, and I was computer programming all the time, and I love technology and all that, but it was so boring that my mind wanted to, and a lot of stress too, but I then jumped into marijuana and alcohol just to make friends and to, again, just get away. It was my escape. So I did that and experimented with other drugs too. As far as like, I did a lot of psychedelics. I did mushrooms, acid, that sort of thing, and did this experimentation stage and did cocaine and meth, but I would do those for like a short period of time, and I did it, experimented with it. That's not me. But alcohol and marijuana, I did that. Those were like my go-tos, and so for, I would say, until probably about like 18 to almost 20, so almost 2 years, I just pretty much partied and just escaped, didn't have any responsibility. I would get jobs, lose them, get another job, lose it. So I'd still pay my bills and things like that, but there was no direction, nothing as far as like my future. And so finally, God intervened, and I didn't know that at the time, but looking back, I know it now. But he intervened and said, hey, what do you want to do with your life? You know, I designed you to have more of a purpose than this. So my mother at that time, she lived in Dallas with her boyfriend, the boyfriend that she had at the time. And so I always wanted to go to the Art Institute of Dallas. And at that period, this was let's see, 98, 97, 98, and that was the only school that offered any kind of animation. I love animation and want to do computer animation, and so I talked to them. They were like, "Yes, you can move down here and stay with us until you get on your feet and get a job, and get in school, and da da da." So I packed up basically like a suitcase is all I had as far as my belongings go. A little bit of furniture, but moved down there and got settled in Dallas and got enrolled at the Art Institute and started getting back on track as far as like my life was concerned. At this time, whenever I left Oklahoma, I left all the drugs and everything behind as far as like partying at the moment. And of course, being in Dallas, I didn't know anybody and didn't associate with anybody that had that.
Did you realize you had a problem though before you went to Dallas?
No, I was totally in denial.
Okay.
Like, didn't realize, like, I was like, okay, yeah, I can drink here and there. Of course, I was still underage, so I didn't have full access to it, but I could get it if I wanted to. But yeah, at this time, even though I would drink to black out, I still didn't think I had a problem. I was like, oh, everybody does that,
yeah.
You know, especially everybody that's young, my age, everybody parties, you know. So yeah, my mentality was didn't have a problem, didn't have an issue, even though it got away of everything that I was doing. So when I got to Dallas, that's when I turned 21. I actually got my first DUI in Dallas. Yeah, whenever 2 weeks before I was 21, I got my first DUI. And so at that time, it was, of course, a misdemeanor, and it was more like a slap on the wrist. And so I didn't really, I went to like DUI school and probation, had like 6 months probation or something. So I didn't really learn consequences that much. And the laws then were pretty relaxed, and especially in Texas, they were pretty relaxed. So I was like, all right, that was my first one. And I continued whenever I became 21, I was drinking like pretty much every night. So by this time I was making friends at school, and they liked to party and stuff too. So, we'd always go out every night. We would hit like a different bar every night because we knew all the drink specials every night. So, by the grace of God, I still, did my schoolwork,
wow.
Still like made it to class.
Would you call yourself like a functioning alcoholic?
Yes, definitely a functioning alcoholic at the time. I mean, I remember there were times when I would still be, drunk from the night before, and I was like, oh, I got to go to class, so I would take a couple of hits of liquor, and just so I could make it through class, That's
what I was got to ask. I was like,
yeah.
Did you have to? Yeah.
Oh yeah. So I can get in there and draw and do my work. I had a 8 o'clock. I remember this. My teacher's 8 o'clock drawing class, and I would come in there and I'm still buzzing and drunk from the night before and that morning too. And so again, by the grace of God, I made it through the class. And so I did that for almost, it was a 2-year program. It's an associate's degree. And so during that whole time, I'd take off probably maybe, because I was paying for school. I had a scholarship and stuff there too, but I was paying for school myself, and my parents helped a little bit here and there, but it was mainly on me. So I would work for a little bit and go back to school, work, take some time off and work and go back to school. But whenever I was going there full time, I focused more on my schoolwork than I did drinking, but I still drank. But like you said, it was more of a functioning alcoholic at this point. Still would lose jobs because I come in smelling like alcohol, or call in because I was, partying the night before. Those things are still going on. But again, I was in my mind, I was like, well, I'm young. Everybody does this, and because my friends were doing it too.
Did anybody else approach you though? Like, hey,
oh yeah,
like, do you this is concerning? Like,
Oh,
what were
yeah.
your reactions to that when people would say stuff to you?
Yes, there was actually one guy I remember that I worked with at a retail store, and he was an AA, and so he was like, because I know he smelt it on me all the time, and so he was like, hey, it's like if you ever need any help or anything, I go to AA, and it's like I've dealt with this before, and I'm an alcoholic, so I'm just reaching out to you to see if you want to come to a meeting or sit down and talk, whatever. And I just looked at him and was like, I don't know, I'm having a problem. And I was like, I was 22, 23. I was like, yeah, we all party. Of course we do. We all drink. And so, again, I was in total denial at that point. But yeah, I did that, made it through school. And then whenever I got my first job, actual career job, I worked at doing graphic design, working for it was an advertising company is what it was. So we did ads for like newspapers, magazines, that kind of stuff. And I was making, at that time was good money, and it's the most money I've ever made. And so that's whenever my partying just increased, because I had the money to do it now.
Yeah.
And so did it for a while until it was catching up with me, and then finally lost that job because I was calling in too much, or same thing. They would smell alcohol from the night before.
So the cycle just continued.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The cycle continued on, and as far as like relationships with women, growing up, my belief system that was instilled in me was like physical attraction, like just how beautiful a woman is. Like, it didn't matter about her personality, her demeanor, or anything like that. It's just like she just had to be good looking and that kind of thing. So that's all I focused on, like dating women. And so I wasn't dating the right kind of women per se. So and my relationships would last maybe like 2 or 3 months, because they get tired of me because I was drinking so much, or I would just get bored of them or something. And so I never really had any true relationships. And I was engaged once when I was 23, and she ended up cheating on me. And so that put me back on, like, marriages are a joke. And so I was like, that put me on my non-belief in marriage again. And also with women, I looked at all women as cheaters too. So, because I've had a couple instances of that, but so I was like, women are cheaters, marriage is a joke, and relationships altogether, I just didn't believe in them. I just didn't care for them. So I would use alcohol, use women, did that and Dallas is so many people, and so it was easy to do down there. And finally, I did this I lived in Dallas for 10 years, and finally I'd say the last month I was there, I was not happy. I was working for a print production company, and still partying, still drinking with my coworkers, and my friends too that I still at the school. And finally, almost got another DUI, but the cop gave me a choice of, I had some warrants, and so he was like, I can take you in for warrants, or I can take you in for a DUI. And of course I chose the warrants. And that was another sign saying, hey, you still got a problem, but
still nothing.
No.
And that's really
nothing.
interesting, because a lot of my members, they're like, I would think they would get sober after a DUI, even after an overdose, all these things, but it isn't. Like, to you, that was not to your place of desperation, right? Like, you have to get to that place of desperation. I want this. And so, like, through all that, you said that you would drink to black out so you didn't have those feelings. Like, did you just continue to feel that way all the time? Like, I'm not happy. I'm at this place. I might be putting words if I'm
no,
like,
fine.
I mean, how was that feeling of, okay, I'm going to go to work, I'm going to drink, I'm going to do all this? Like, did you ever have that thought that this isn't normal? Or, like, what I'm doing really is not making me happy.
Right. And yeah, because since I didn't understand emotions, everything as far as me was all surface. So I would tell you what you want to hear. I always had walls up, and so you would not get past this barrier no matter what. You would never get to the true me because I didn't know what the true me was, you know? So when it came to drinking, and it didn't matter if I was sad, it didn't matter if I was happy, it didn't matter if I was angry. Like, I just wanted all to go away. And so I would drink to feel good and be happy. I would drink because I lost a job, or I would drink because a girl was messing around or whatever, you know, I found out she was cheating or something, or or I was just angry for whatever reason. So I didn't know how to process the emotions normally, and so I would use alcohol as a solution to process it for me, and that was to numb it, and that was to make it go away. So yeah, with the DUIs and with me knowing that I was drinking every night, I would just, again, it was socially accepted, and the people I was with too, that nobody saw was a problem, you know, as far as like, my parents, of course, did.
Did your family say anything to you or see it?
So my family, when I lived down there, I would see my mother every now and then, even though she lived in Dallas. And then my dad would come down to visit here and there, but I didn't really talk to them all the time, and so they never really saw that side of me. So even whenever I go visit my mom, like I'd be sober, you know, and I would hang on for that time, and then as soon as and I would drink with her here and there, and with my father too, but I would put it on a minimum level. You know, I wouldn't get hammered, but whenever our time was over, that's when it was back onto the races. And so they never really saw that side of me. They would see me drunk here and there, but never like blacked out, never obliviated. You know, it was just, yeah, we know he drinks and stuff like that. But again, they didn't see it as the problem that it really was.
Yeah. So how did you get to that place of that desperation? Something has to change.
Yeah. So I moved back to Oklahoma after that incident with the warrant, the DUI, almost a DUI. But anyway, I moved back to Oklahoma because I lost my job because I stayed in jail for like a week because of my warrants. And so my brother came down, moved me up back to Oklahoma. I lived with my brother and got a job at Dell Computers. I had a friend that worked there, and so he helped me get a job there. Again, going back to making money, going back to drinking again, starting the cycle all over again. And then that's whenever I got my first DUI in Oklahoma, and actually got 2 DUIs in the same year. So, because after the first one, we lost our jobs at Dell. They had a big layoff, and so I just didn't care. And so I was working odd jobs, and I got my second one, and that's whenever. My second one actually was like, okay, I gotta do something about this. So I actually stayed sober on my own. I still didn't bring God into my life. I tried. I actually went to church. I had a couple of friends that I worked out with at the gym, and they invited me to church. So I was like, okay. Went to church with them for a little bit and was starting to develop a relationship with God, but I was still doing things on my own will. I didn't fully surrender to Him yet.
Yeah.
And it was just like, all right, I'll talk to you whenever I need some help and things like that. Got my God list I'm going to go through, you know.
And it's convenient for you.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And so my second one, I had probation, and I was actually getting ready to get off my probation for my second DUI when I started like, all right, I can have a couple of drinks here and there, and thinking in my head, that was the delusion I had every time, was control. Like I had control of this drinking, and so of my alcohol consumption. And so I'd start off small and then eventually work it up.
You hear that a lot. Right?
Oh yeah.
Like, okay, I've been sober. I think I can do it. I think I can just have 1 drink or 2 drinks and call it in. But then, as you're saying, you couldn't. It quickly escalated.
Yes. Again, I didn't think I had a problem still, and so I would have like, say like 5 or 6 beers on the weekend, and then survived that one. And then it was like a couple of beers, after work. And then that eventually got into liquor. And so I have a couple of drinks, and then, all right, I can have a couple of drinks. And next thing you know, I'll be drinking like either a liter, or I'd graduate up to the big gallons, and I do a liter like almost every day. And so it got to the point where on my, so the second one, actually got DUI number 3. And because I was getting ready to get off my case on the second one, and that's when they offered me DUI court. Okay. And so with DUI court, it was a two-year program. Do counseling, go to AA meetings, and so if I completed the program.
Did you lose your license?
Oh yeah,
okay.
Yeah. I just drove.
Okay.
Yeah, I just drove. I didn't have a license until I got to the Hopes of Life program. I didn't have a valid license for almost 15 years. Yeah, pretty much from 2007 to till 2022. Yeah, to the end of 22. So yeah, I would just drive. Being a graphic designer, I made my own insurance. And so, forged my own insurance.
And those are the things we don't think about. You know, like, I've never heard you share that. Like, I mean, because we say, like, how smart and you guys are, those that struggle with substances and, like, the things we don't think about that you guys will do.
Oh, yes.
And that's just another example.
Oh, yes.
So tell me more, again, about the DUI.
The DUI court. So, again, I knew, like, I loved the idea of being sober, but I wasn't ready yet. So you can give me a curriculum of a program and I can nail it. And so they laid everything out for me. I was like, oh yeah, I can do this and this and this. So for 2 years, it was more of a game of like, I can show you that I can be sober for 2 years and get through this program, be the golden child at the end. And so that's what I did. I did the full program, did everything I was supposed to do, and graduated, got 3 DUIs wiped off my record, because that was, that was the whole thing. If you complete the program, they take them off your record. So clean slate and everything. And then the whole time that I was in that program, I kept thinking about drinking. I was like, I can't wait to graduate until I can again have control. I was like, I learned all these things, right? I learned all the science behind, the alcohol and drugs and what it does to your body and the effects that it does to you. Is like, I know how to control it now because I have all this knowledge. And so
that's very interesting. So instead of saying I'm not going to do it, I know how I can control drinking like anybody else that doesn't struggle with it.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. It's like, again, I still have that delusion of control of it. And so now I know what not to do, right?
Yeah.
And so the first week that I graduated, because I was still in the back of my mind, I was like, they're going to come by and check on me or something. And so that first week is whenever I started drinking beer again, and eventually graduated back up to liquor. And I was drinking, so I graduated that program 2013, and 2019 is when I started like hitting rock bottom, like really bad. I was drinking all day long. I would drink from the moment that I woke up till.
Did you have a job?
Like I would drink all through work. Like I would, I'd keep a bottle in the car. So during my breaks, I'd go out there and take swigs out of the bottle. And so, and I would. Every job I got, I lost it, because they got tired of it too. And they would work with me. Like they're like, yeah, we know you have a problem, because I'd be upfront about it. But they eventually, their grace ran out too. And so finally I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and she finally got tired of me, and she has 2 boys too, and so she didn't want to put them in jeopardy, and do not blame her at all. And so kicked me out. And that's whenever I moved to my dad's house, because that was basically the only person that I had left and that would accept me. And so he lived out in the country, like, 15 miles away from the nearest liquor store, and I was like, okay, I'm good. I didn't have a car because I lost it to the police because I almost got DUI number 4 up here, and it got knocked down to reckless driving because I went to rehab for the first time and looked good for the judge, of course, and I was only in rehab for 60 days. And so again, they gave me the curriculum, nailed it, and I got out in 45 days. And so, so because I looked like the golden child again. And so whenever I got out of rehab, everybody thought I was cured, right? And that's another, I'll say, stigma is that everybody thinks that you go to rehab, you're good to go.
I thought that too. Like when the only time I dropped my husband off, and the guy at admissions was like, how many times has he been? I was like, this is his only time. What do you mean, how many times? Because I thought like, oh, he's going to go and he's going to get better. And I know a lot of people out there listening feel the same way.
Yes.
But it's not always the case.
No. Again, they gave me the knowledge and stuff like that. Was talking to God again. Actually was doing Bible studies there. And we had Bible groups and whatnot. So I was developing that relationship with him again. But whenever I got back out and got to my I stayed at my brother's for a little bit until I went to my dad's. And so I only hit like one AA meeting and stopped praying, stopped reading the Bible, stopped doing the things that were working for me. And so again, I was putting it back on Rob and what I could do and my will. And so had a job at a gym, working at a gym, and so started drinking again and started to because I was taking a bus. I didn't have my car, so I was taking this bus route, and every time I passed by this liquor store, and I was like, all right, one day I just jumped off the bus, went in there, bought a bottle, and chugged it right there in the parking lot, and went back on the bus, and from that day forward, it was like back off to the races again. And so that's whenever I went to my dad's, because obviously my brother found out and he was tired of it, and he was like, all right, you got to go somewhere. And so I went to my father's. Again, this is the time that COVID hit. And so during COVID, I got a job at the Dollar General store. That was like the only place that would hire and hire someone like me at the time. So I worked there. My dad let me use his farm truck. He had like this work truck. And so anyway, I made a copy of the key to the truck because I had to give him the keys every day after I got done driving. But as soon as he'd go to work, I would go back to the liquor store.
Which is, okay, so your dad was trying to set boundaries. He's doing the best he could. Like, okay, if I can pick, I'll give it the keys to Rob to drive to work and back, and then I'll take these keys, and then I know he won't leave during the night. But your smart intelligence is like, I'm going to trick him, right? I'm going to make a copy of the key. And this is nothing bad for your dad. It's like, we think, even as loved ones, that we can control the situations. Right. And so we do the best with what we know at the time, right?
Yes.
And at that time, I would have thought, okay, yeah, I can take these keys back.
Exactly, yeah. And so finally, he had enough. He found me almost dead one time from alcohol poisoning. And so, again, you would think that would stop you. That would be enough. And you would realize you had a problem. And I knew at this point that I had a problem, but I just didn't care. Like at this point, this is where I was getting to the desperation, because every night my prayer was I just didn't want to wake up. Like, I want this to be my last night. Just let me pass during my sleep, And so finally, my dad gave me the ultimatum, and that's what really saved me. He's like, you can go live in the woods if you want to, or you can go to rehab. I was like, I can't take this anymore. And so that's when I was like, okay, I got to do something, and went to rehab. Men's First Step here in Oklahoma at Stanley Draper Lake. And so it was a 6-month program, work program. So we worked 40 hours a week and had meetings at night. And so that's whenever God showed up, whenever I was at the treatment center there. I was just one night staring at my closet. I actually had like half a closet because I had to share it with somebody. And God was like, this is it. You know, this is where you're at. Are you happy? Do you want to continue this? And I was like, no, I don't. I was like, I basically asked God or told God, I was like, let me see what you got. I was like, I'm done. He's like, you have my life. Let me see what you can do with it. And I surrendered to him that night, and he blessed me the whole time that I was there. I got saved. I got baptized, and my relationship with God just flourished. And I was doing Bible studies with the men there, and he was connecting me with all the right people. And that's how I found Hope is Alive. One of the guys that did a Bible study there, he would take us to church and whatnot. He took us to Night of Hope in the Brandon Lake one. Yeah. And so in 21, and that's whenever I found out about Hope is Alive. Like, I heard the name, but I didn't know what they were about. And talked to Grant, actually, and Luke, and you remember Luke. And so talked to them, got all the information. I was like, God was like, this is it. This is where you need to go. And so my sponsor at the time, I was getting ready to graduate the First Step program, and he was like, hey, what are you going to do? You're going to go to sober living? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I have to. I was like, everything else I tried before didn't work. So he's the one that brought it up. He was like, have you heard about Hope is Alive? Do you want to check them out? I was like, that's funny, because I'm getting ready to tell you that's where I was going to go. So that was a true God moment right there. Like,
confirmation and all of that. Yeah.
Yes. And so I immediately, I got a scholarship, got my first month paid. And I told my dad, I was like, you're taking me straight from here to there. Like, I don't want. There's no stop. Yeah. No going to your house. Yep. No, nothing like that. I was like, I don't still trust myself, you know? And, one of the guys that was at the treatment center, he knew somebody that did web design. And so I did an interview over the phone, and they were like, yeah, when you get out, let me know. We'll test you out. And I got a job doing web design straight out of treatment, which I was ready to do anything, honestly, like flip burgers, whatever, you know. And so God blessed me with that as well. And then I was in the program for 3 months, and then that's when Lance was looking for a graphic designer here at Hope is Alive, and interviewed with him and got the job here. But yeah, that point of desperation of you know, where I didn't care anymore. I was so far in the darkness that I wanted death, and God would not allow that to happen. And he knew, you know, obviously he knows my purpose, but he had to show me that purpose, and that he had to show me that path, but I had to surrender to him.
So again, it wasn't that those DUIs, multiple DUIs, it wasn't alcohol poisoning. It was that God met you at your closet. Like,
right.
We don't know where or when, and that's where, like, as loved ones, like, just continuing to pray, Lord, just shut those doors and open the doors. Let them see the light.
Yes.
Because God will meet you in the closet.
Yeah.
He'll meet you wherever.
And most random place. Yes. Yeah, you think you're like, walk outside. Oh, no.
No.
And that's not it. Yeah, he's having a conversation with me, you know, right there in the middle of this treatment center out in the woods. Yeah. You know. Yeah. But you're right, though. It all the stuff that I was doing on my own did not work. It was total surrender to him. It was, God has to be in your life in order for me to transform into the person that I am now. Yeah.
So you said at the very beginning, you're in your addiction 25, 30 years. And so I know there's some listeners out there that their loved one's been in it 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, and they can't even imagine 25 to 30 years, or some of them are there. What would you tell maybe a mom or a dad or a grandma or a spouse that's going through it right now with their loved one?
Yeah, no, first thing is definitely do not give up. You know, keep praying for them. Kind of what you always talk about is the boundaries. Set those boundaries and stick to them. Don't stray from them.
Did you try to push boundaries?
Oh yeah, I would manipulate. Yeah. Oh yeah, I manipulate and honestly, my parents were bless them, but they were enablers. I mean, they would help me out anytime I needed help. You know, they would. It took to a lot of me doing a lot of destruction in order for them to set a boundary. Yeah. So if you set those boundaries now, you know, at the beginning, that's when they're going to get the help. If they would have set those beforehand, I had nowhere else to go. I would have to do what I needed to do to get help. But yes, definitely set the boundaries and don't stop praying for them. God will show up. We want it tomorrow. We always do.
Or today.
Yeah. Or, right now. Yeah. We want it instant gratification, but it's on God's time, not our time. And definitely have that patience because He will show up and just be there for them. Don't as far as like enabling goes, don't drop everything and go to them, but be there for them when they need the help. But definitely keep your boundaries in place and hold on to those boundaries.
Yeah, that's good. Anything else you want to tell our listeners?
Yes. As far as because I have a brother that's still in his addiction, so whenever I go see him, and I have a niece and nephew, and I see them, I just go and be the light. Like I do not hammer them, badger them. Like I never tell him what he's doing wrong. Kind of like what you were saying about the you. I just let him know again how I feel about the situation, because there's multiple situations where he didn't show up, and I tell him about that. But I just be the light when I'm there. I'm there for them, and again, I'm there for him when he needs me. But I never force anything on him.
Yeah. How is life today in recovery?
Oh, it's probably the best it's ever been. I have a beautiful girlfriend now. You know her. She's amazing. Like I prayed for her for forever. I mean, since I got sober, I prayed for my wife, and so I feel like He's brought her to me, and she has 2 beautiful children, and we love each other, and just did her birthday yesterday, and so we got to celebrate that, and so life is really, it's the best it's ever been, that I've ever had, that I've ever experienced. Got a great job at Hope is Alive, doing God's mission, furthering His kingdom, bringing the lost and the broken to Him, and then just living life doing that. I have a purpose now. Yeah. It's not like I'm just going to go through life and float through. It's like I know what I have to do today.
Yeah, very good. Well, thank you so much for sharing with us. And I know what you've said has given other people hope. And I appreciate your transparency and your vulnerability with us. Yes. And just thank you for sharing that. And I like to leave my listeners, as you know, excuse me, with a challenge. And the first one I just heard you say, be a light. So be a light in this dark world. It is a dark world. And again, like continuing to tell them that you love them. Yes. I think that's important too. Like be that light, tell them you love them, and that you're continuing to pray for them. Yes. And so that's my challenge for you guys today. Do you have anything that you would encourage or challenge our listeners with today?
Yeah, again, like you're saying, love trumps everything. That's God is love. So keep your prayers and love for them, and always be there for them with love. Don't bring anger to them. That's going to push them away. No fear, because love always conquers fear as well. So do not force with anger, fear, anything like that, but just come at them with love, because that's when God will show up.
That's good. That's good. So thank you guys so much for joining me this week. And you can learn more about Finding Hope at findinghope.today. But before you go, I would love for you to give us a 5-star review, share this on social media, and subscribe to the podcast so you don't miss our next hope-filled episodes. Thanks again for joining me, Amy LaRue, and our special guest, Rob, in this episode of Finding Hope. And remember, you are not alone. It's not your fault. There is hope.